Primordial Radio.
Thank you, Robot Lady.
I know, man, every time. I tell you what's funny though, like every time like, people hear that and you can see the switch where it's like, oh,
professional mode.
I see it every time and it really does make me laugh. It's absolutely brilliant. Primordial Radio, it is the Upvote 100 where we are counting down the top 100 tracks on the station as voted for by you from 2021. And now we are going to get to number 4. This is a band that we have been loving on Primordial Radio for the past 4 years with singles such as Devil Is Fine, Come On Down and Blood on the River. But at number 4, it is ZEAL Ardor with Götterdämmerung. And I am delighted to say I am joined by the man himself, the brainchild of ZEAL Ardor himself, Manuel. Dude, how are you doing?
I'm great, man. This is the trip. Number 4, that's sick.
Yeah, number 4, just under 250,000 votes across the whole of 2021. And it's just been incredible to see. One of the things that we've really seen over the past year is the variety of the music, but I think also the bands that do have a more extreme sound are getting popular, and that's something we're seeing within our community, but it's also something that I feel is happening across the board, across the broader rock and metal community. Does it feel like that from your side as someone who is, you know, in ZEAL Ardor and building up as a band?
Yeah, but also definitely as a music listener and like, I mean, I listen to a bunch of music, and even my friends, they're just getting more fringe, and this is like a change I'm more than welcoming of. It's pretty sick, not gonna lie.
Yeah, as you say, it's a bit more fringe, and I'm noticing it with like some really heavy, like fucking heavy bands. I was talking about it earlier today. You got bands like Vane FM and Harriet and Fit for an Autopsy just released an absolutely ridiculous record.
Oh yeah,
and like these are like extremities, like these are really extreme bands, but becoming hugely popular. So it seems like there's a bit of a sea change happening on within the metal scene right now.
It is. Maybe it's, you know, boredom of stuff that you're more familiar with. Because I just the idea of seeing Portal like on an arena stage or witnessing fit for an Autopsy, you know, in such a grand fashion is just, it tickles me.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing that is great about ZEAL Ardor, because you say that, you know, it tickles you, and obviously you've got a sense of humor, and ultimately that's how this whole thing started out for you guys back in 2013 as a 4chan dare. So I wonder, would you have pursued a band if that dare hadn't taken place? Do you think you would have ended up in a band doing something else or done something else entirely?
It's hard to say. I mean, I would still be making music, but the band happened out of a necessity. We got booked to, you know, play some gigs, and I just asked my friends, I have like 4 gigs lined up on festivals. You want to come? And here we are, like 400 gigs later. Like, you know, it's bizarre. I don't think I could have anticipated this, so I don't think I could anticipate what I would have done instead.
Yeah, has there been any point where you've almost gone to like promoters and agents and stuff where you go like, guys, you realize this was a joke, right?
I mean, it's how I feel every day. Like, I feel like at any point someone could come and like, guys, this is just a joke. Like, okay, the cat's out of the bag. We're never gonna get booked anymore. It's not a joke anymore, I need to say, but still, like, it started with this little, you know, grain of levity that I don't want to lose, because it is. I mean, metal is so close to being silly, but as long as we all really like it, it's not going to be it. But
yes,
there's this fragility to it, and I'm very much aware of that.
Oh, definitely, yes, because you look at some of the bands that will take themselves very, very seriously, but they've got some very silly outfits, and I'm all for bands that can kind of take it on the chin a little bit. I think there's so many cliches that we all are involved with, you know, when it comes to metal. So I think the more we can be open and honest about that, the better time I think we can have.
I think so too. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So when you started ZEAL Ardor then, like what were you listening to at the time? Because obviously this was kind of set up as a bit of a joke, but obviously you've got, you know, a whole plethora. You mentioned earlier you listen to lots of different, you know, different types of music and stuff like that. So yeah, what were you listening to back then?
I mean, back then when I started it, not so much metal. I got into black metal as a kid, and it was like this teen thing. And I was in my early 20s starting the project. So I guess it was more like noise artists like Merzbow and, you know, lots of Portishead and Tom Waits, stuff like that. Just weird atmospheric stuff. But I lived in New York at the time, so Liturgy was just kind of getting big. Really like her stuff. Just all across the board, weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. And then so the exploration into black metal. Then I wonder, like, how did you find that? Because I think black metal is a really interesting genre. Obviously, the extremities of the music and stuff like that. But there's a lot of problems with the genre. You know, the church burnings and all that kind of fucking neo-Nazism like all over the place. Like, there's some pretty dark stuff, like horrid stuff within a black metal scene, in parts of it at least.
Mm-hmm. I think it's fun to like bastardize the bastard music. Like as soon as I put like a African American spin on it, like people almost want to lynch me. Like, no, this is our holy little true cult thing. But when you think about how it started, it was just like these angsty teenagers in the suburbs of Norway. It's not like legendary super cult people. No, these like we all knew that guy who was just kind of angry, pissed off, mostly at his parents probably, or his circumstances. They just channeled it in a really interesting way. And nothing is holy, I guess.
No, and if you had quite a lot of kickback from parts of the metal world, combining, roots, blues, African American music, with into black metal. I
mean, yeah, but that's also signaling to me that I'm doing something right. Because if you're just doing like, this is a black metal band, and everyone agrees with it, you can be certain that that band already exists and you're just kind of regurgitating things that already have happened. And I don't think there's much merit in that. So I'd rather be weird and hated by a fraction of people than just, be part of the gray background.
Well, yes, to elicit some sort of response. I think from an artist's point of view, beige or non-response is probably the worst thing. It's a place you don't want to be. You mentioned earlier 400 gigs since you started back in 2013, which is immense. But of course, it's all come to a sudden stop. How have you found operating as a band without shows? Because I kind of feel like, as I'm looking at it, if you're not like Metallica size, it's very, very difficult for bands to cut through without being able to get out on the road and get in front of people.
I mean, we started gigging in like 2017, and we took 2020 like preemptively. We just wanted to write music, so we got really lucky in that regard. And so we didn't plan to gig in the first place, so it was kind of not too bad. And we got back on the road like last December. We got to tour with Mastodon and Opeth in the US, where at the time, at least, it was a little more Wild West when it came to if you can do shows. I mean, everyone had to be vaccinated and there was not a lot of mingling going on. But regardless, I don't know how it is in the UK. I think the shows are still happening, right?
Yeah, it's a real weird picture at the moment in the UK where what you might say, basically, native bands from the UK are able to do their shows because there's no restrictions or travel or anything like that. But international seems to be the struggle, getting bands from America, getting bands from parts of Europe, because, of course, for bands, they need to do 30 dates across Europe and their UK tour. So we're kind of, as the UK often is, because we're geographically in the middle of things, we're also culturally in the middle of things.
Yeah.
We're one side of America, one side of Europe, and we're kind of in between it all, I guess. So it's a very mixed picture in the UK.
Oh my. Well, regardless, we're trying to get on tour again. Like if the stars are aligned, we will grace the Queen's Earth with incoming opening for Meshuggah in I think June.
Yes, I think so. I very much hope that by then, yes, things will be leveled out a bit, and more fucking massive variant waves. I think if we could just try and live with what we got, like that'd be cool. But yeah, I haven't seen you guys yet. I missed a chance because you played in Manchester, I think, about 2018. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there, so I'm dying to see you guys live because I haven't had my chance yet. We talked about black metal and African American mixed with the music, but also a lot of it's centered around history and alternate history. I was wondering what's kind of like your favorite time period of history which interests you the most?
I don't think I can pinpoint it. Like it's so weird. Like I hate these people from this time period. These are the best. That doesn't make sense to me. But I mean, I take a lot from, I guess, the 19th century, just narratively for this project. But I think there's the Renaissance is fucking peak interest.
That's an area which I'd like to read up on more, because I'm quite fascinated by the ancient worlds, ancient Greek, ancient Egypt, you know, the big civilizations there. The Renaissance, I feel like I need to read up on a little bit more. But yeah, it's obviously because particularly the relevance of that coming out of a pandemic and, you know, into this new world that they created.
Exactly. And I mean, it kind of, you know, we could draw parallels to what's going on now. Everyone's, you know, at home fiddling away at their ideas, and who knows what strange, you know, comeuppance we have. I don't know. It's an interesting time, to say the least.
Yeah, it really is. A lot of parallels as well. Like, as we've gone through this, you definitely see a lot of parallels in history, particularly when it comes to information, who we trust in our leaders and all this. You go, yep, that happened then, that happened then, that happened then. Yeah. We may have more technology, but we might not necessarily be a great deal smarter. Manuel, it's been such a pleasure to have a chat, and yeah, let's do this again, because this is the first time I spoke to you, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully we'll do that tour with Meshuggah Man. Fuck, that's a hell of a tour to get on, and they're dropping new music too. So we're going to play Götterdämmerung now. As I said, number 4 on the upvote of the top 100 songs from 2021, as voted for by the listeners of Primordial Radio. So Götterdämmerung, a direct influence from Richard Wagner and Norse mythology?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to do the same thing that I did with black metal, because, you know, the Nazis kind of took Wagner for themselves. And I figured we can just take him for ourselves too.
Yes.
I mean, he himself was a huge knob too, but his music is unrefutably good, so I figured why not steal?
Because you see this debate, can you separate the art from the artist? Is that a thing that can be done, do you think?
I think I can't unlike certain music that I know now is bad, and it would be hypocritical to say that I retroactively have disdain for it. So I personally can in certain instances. But that's for everyone themselves to
depending on the context of this and that. Yeah, it's always it's a very, very interesting debate that's going on right now. Manuel, it's been such a pleasure to chat. Number 4 on the upvote 100. This is Zeal Ardour. We've got to Götterdämmerung, dude. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, man. This is sweet.
Primordial Radio.